Hi, I'm Fiona Vroom, and I play Tippy in Grease, Rise of the Pink Ladies. And this is Pop Culture with Pat.
Welcome back to Pop Culture with Pat. So, super excited to be joined on today's show by my guest, Fiona Vroom. She has been in a number of different things over the years, from Bay Motel, Star Trek, seen her in Hallmark movies. She is now starring in the upcoming Grease Rise of the Pink Ladies. Thank you so much for coming on the show today, Fiona.
Hi, Pat. My pleasure to be here.
So to start things off, before we get into Grease Rise of the Pink Ladies, which is coming out on April 6th, so make sure you guys check that out. But before we jump into that, I just wanted to kind of ask you a little bit about how you got started earlier on in your career. Like I said, you've done all kinds of different projects, all kinds of different genres. So what was it about? What was it initially attracted you to acting in the first place and made you want to pursue this as a career?
I think there's two answers to this. So I used to watch old movies with my mom, on the Turner Classic Movie Channel. Remember that
Yeah.
channel? I think it was like Channel 40 or something. And I fell in love with all the old movies, the black and whites, the Gene Kelly and Audrey Hepburn movies. But I actually, very similar to Audrey Hepburn, started off in ballet. So I trained in ballet for forever, my entire childhood, and loved it. And I was on a very clear path that way, and being on stage, that was like my first introduction to storytelling. Then I also really got into singing and dancing. So I sort of switched paths and went with the musical theater route. And like you couldn't keep me off the stage. I was any chance I could get. I was part of musical theater, like community productions, my school productions, everything. I actually have done two live performances of Grease, the musical, and I played Frenchie in one and Cha-Cha in the other.
Okay, so this is totally making sense now. How you ended up on this project then.
Yeah, it's a blast. Yes, I think I was like meant to play Tippy. Yeah.
Perfect. So yeah, and so you kind of did a little bit of everything, from whether it was dancing, theater, and then moving on later into, just like straight like acting. What and actually similar to you, well, I didn't do a dancing or acting or anything like that as a kid, but as far as like just like growing up, I remember a lot of the black and white. For me, I'm a big horror fan, so a lot of the black and white Universal classic monster movies, Frankenstein, Dracula, Wolfman, things like that.
Oh yeah, Alfred Hitchcock. Yeah, give it to me.
Yeah, yeah, that was my dad, would take me, my parents would take me to Blockbuster, and those would be the movies that I would rent because they weren't, I mean, they were scary, but they were, for being like a little kid, they weren't too bad, and that was kind of my gateway.
Yeah, like the film noir genre.
Yeah. Yeah, that
Just
was kind of my
yeah.
gateway into like more horror like later on, but that's like kind of how I got started like as well. Now, so you are playing, we mentioned you are playing Tippy in Grease Rise of the Pink Ladies. Can you just tell us what you can a little bit about your character that you're playing in the series?
Yes, yes. My character, I play Tippy, and she is one of the moms. I'm the mom of Susan. So Susan's character, she's sort of the outcast of the Pink Ladies. She's not part of the group. She does not hold the jacket. She's yeah, she's what you would consider like a mean girl today. So Susan is the outcast. She's also Buddy's sort of ex-fling, and Susan is desperately holding on to the dream to get back together with Buddy, even though Buddy has moved on to one of the Pink Ladies. So Susan's like the outcast of the school. I mean, and you get to know why she's like that by meeting her mother, me, Tippy. So Tippy is the quintessential housewife. She is head of the parent teacher organization, and she wants desperately to uphold all appearances that everything is okay.
Yeah, and we know a little bit about like why you were interested in this role, just where you said you've done a couple, you've been involved with Grease already, like in your career. what was it? What was it about this character when you got the audition? What was it about it that really made you say like, I need to be a part of this project, and I just really want to play this character?
Well, I think women of the 50s are fascinating. I'm actually very fascinated with the 1950s as an era altogether. You know, it was post-war, and there was this feeling that I feel like people were being sold, this idea that everything was golden and shiny and bright, and like there was this feeling of hope everywhere. And at the same time, you know, the dust was still on the ground from years and years of war. So I feel like the women of the 50s are very interesting because they had to hold it all together and not show any cracks. And that's really hard to do. Like, you know, we know
Yeah.
it's hard to do. Appearances are hard, especially today with like social media and all of that pressure. So I loved this character because I feel like she walks a very fine line of she could really become like unraveled at any minute, and like her whole world could fall apart at any minute, and she's trying so hard to keep it all together, and she will go to any lengths to make sure everyone thinks that everything is okay.
To make sure it stays that way. Were you, I guess, like where you were kind of familiar with this world already, were you nervous at all stepping into the world of Greece for this particular project, just where the original film is so iconic and has such a passionate fan base?
Yes, I think you could say I was nervous. So it was yeah, big shoes to fit, right? Like everyone knows the iconic story of Greece. Maybe not everybody, but a lot of people know the iconic story of Greece from the 1978 version that like John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John made so famous.
Yep.
And for me personally, it was the chance to sing and dance again. So I had a musical theater career, and then, you know, but I've sort of retired my dance shoes like years ago. So for me, it was like getting back into shape and exercising your voice and making sure you could get through the dance rehearsals without like pulling a hamstring. So I was pretty nervous about that, but the dance team was amazing. And Jamal Sims, the choreographer, was like, he's incredible to work with. So it was a lot of fun as soon as I got into it.
Yeah, I was saying, so it's kind of cool too. So you kind of got to come, full circle where you kind of started off with that, and now getting to revisit that, a little bit like later on in your career. So that must have been really exciting, like you mentioned. What was your favorite part of getting to jump into this time machine? You kind of tackled that a little bit, like already, but and get to visit the 1950s. Everything from the sets, because I've gotten to see some of the episodes. Everything from like the sets, the wardrobe, just everything looks incredible on this show. So I guess what was like your favorite part of visiting that era?
Just like driving onto the set and seeing all the 1950 cars, and the set was like incredible. It was like walking into a storybook, and the wardrobe team did such an amazing job of creating these looks. I mean, the girls, like all of their unique different looks are so incredible and beautifully designed. So the collaboration of all the teams that came together, the dancing, the singing, like we had this I can't remember his name, the amazing songwriter that wrote all the songs. Working with him was incredible. Justin, I think. And yeah, but for me, like I'm a real fashionista. So getting to step into the crinolines and the jewelry, the looks, even the material of the dresses, like, you know, no spandex was invented back in the day. It's like the dresses were tight and uncomfortable, and oh god, like, yeah. So anyways, the looks and stepping into those shoes and wearing the gloves and everything really brought it all to life for me.
So did it make you performing as that character a lot easier? Just like you really felt like that you were immersed in this world of the 1950s with everything that they had done?
Yeah, totally. Like even down to the clip-on earrings. Like today I wear like normal pierced ears, but in the 50s they were like these pain, like torture things that you put on your ear and you crank the back of them. And it's like the pain of wearing those all day. I was like, how did women do this?
But I love like when a show or a film, goes that extra length just to make sure that everything, every little detail is that accurate. Because for people that are, big film buffs or television buffs, they're going to notice those little things. So it's always nice when you see a production go to those lengths to make sure that all those things are matched for accuracy.
The detail on this show was incredible.
Was there anything that you wanted to, or I don't know if you got the chance to like keep anything from the set? Was there anything that you really wanted to keep from your time working on the set? Were you guys allowed to keep anything?
No, you're not allowed to keep anything.
Bummer.
With a show like Grease or like a period piece, usually, well, a lot of the time the costumes are rented from like big Hollywood rental houses. So there's usually like a tag in the back of your dress that says like Hollywood North rental houses. So you're not, you can't take them.
Did you guys? I thought I actually saw one of the girls did like a wrap gift. Did you guys like get any cool like gifts or anything from that, like from working on the set or?
No, I was but a mere local hire here in Vancouver. So
But I mean, it looks like, man, I imagine there were so many things on there that it would just be like so tempted to just want to have so many pieces from the set or the wardrobe. Obviously, like you didn't get to, but I can't like just watching like the first couple episodes, the amount of things that I would love to have just like as a
like
a
the
collection piece.
T-bird, like, are you jealous of the T-bird jackets or
Yeah,
the
those jackets are awesome. Now, without going into spoilers, what went in, you kind of touched on it a little bit there, but like what went into filming the music numbers? Now, obviously, a lot of work and prep went into that. And do you have a favorite number from the series? Just like a generalization, don't have to go into any details, but
everyone had such good numbers in this show. Like all the kids, their personalities get to come out as the series goes on. You get to know them through song and dance, obviously.
yep,
Um, I loved in the second episode, all the moms perform a song called Girl Gang. And it's basically like the premise behind the song is these women gossiping. So it's a big dance number, and we had phones with us, like with the old school phone cord, the
yep,
whole number. So I mean, that was a feat in itself. This choreography that we had to put together with like maneuvering around a phone cord. But on the day, I don't want to spoil it, but on the day you'll see the set, and like we were talking about before, how incredible the sets were and the detail. This set that we got to perform on for this song, I felt like I was in like an old movie because everything starts moving and things come up from the ground. It was amazing, and it was all built. It was all practical. It's none of
that's
it's
cool.
None of it's a green screen. It's all practical. And that was the case with a lot of the numbers. Yeah, they were so fun. Yeah, it was amazing.
I always love like, again, just like me being, I think like a horror fan, but I always appreciate when you can go practical. Like obviously there's time and the place to use CGI for certain things that you just can't do on a practical level. But whenever you can go practical, for me, I always seem to like, I don't know, I just appreciate that a little bit more, just like that little extra effort that like went into it and making like the different pieces and stuff like that. So
I mean, when I was reading the scripts, I was thinking, how the hell are they going to do this? And then, like, you get to set, and sure enough, they've built it.
how long did it take for to just like in general, how long did it take to film like the musical numbers, like, for the one in particular? Like, was it a couple days? Was it weeks or
Forever.
I
Um,
imagine a long time.
it's so challenging doing a show like this for TV. It's an incredible beast. So we would it was really hard during COVID too. I'm sure it would have taken like it would have been a lot quicker if there wasn't the effects of the global pandemic in our way.
Yeah.
So, anyways, side note, we would rehearse, we would have a couple rehearsals, like two or three, throughout the week, the previous week. And then we would have like staging usually with choreography, props and stuff like that. So like a dress rehearsal ish. And then depending on the number, sometimes it was a couple days per musical number, or sometimes it was like one day for the smaller ones.
Because I
But girl,
definitely feel like there's a lot of
girl,
moving pieces in those.
so many moving pieces. And oh yeah, I mean, girl gang, our director and our showrunner had COVID during the shooting of that number. So
Jeez.
I mean, the show had to go on, right? Like the
Yeah.
old saying, it had to literally go on. So like their assistant was holding their iPad, and Annabelle and Alethea were like directing from their quarantined hotel rooms.
Wow.
The iPad, like talk about adding another challenge on top of it, but they managed beautifully. You'll
Well,
see.
that I mean, that'll give me just like a whole new appreciation going back and like watching these episodes too, knowing, that one in particular, that what went into filming those scenes to get that stuff done. So I always love hearing, obviously that was, terrible that happened, but it's always interesting to hear the behind the scenes of how these things were put together because I can't imagine trying to direct something from like an iPad or from like an iPhone or something.
So those were very long days, but worth it in the end because the product is so amazing. So it was totally worth it.
Agreed. Now, out of the different groups at Rydell, which one do you think that your high school self would have fit in with the most personally?
So here's the thing about me. In high school, I didn't really fit in anywhere. I wasn't like nerdy enough to fit in with the nerds, and but I was like certainly not cool enough to be part of that group. I lay somewhere in the middle. Maybe I was a theater person because I was always involved in all of the theater shows that my school put on. But I don't know. I'm pretty sure I marched to the beat of my own drum and just kind of floated around to from group to group, just trying to get through high school. High school's so hard.
Yeah, no, agreed. And honestly, Fiona, I kind of relate the same way. Like I never felt like I was truly in like one aspect. I definitely had different friends from the different groups, so I kind of would hang out like a little bit, but I never belonged to like one particular group. So I completely understand like where you're coming from as far as that goes.
We should just start our own group.
We should. I said now we just have to come up with a name. I said that's a lot easier said than done off the top of your head.
The
What was it
pink
about? Oh,
people, pink ladies, the pink people ladies.
pink people. And then we just got to get jackets too. That might take a little bit longer. What was it? What was it, or what is it about the world of Greece that makes it so timeless and keeps people not only coming back but keeps attracting a new audience, year after year? Even though the film came out in the 70s, we now have a new project, this new TV series that is coming out, decades later. What is it about this project that just keeps people coming back?
That's a good question. What is it about Greece is the word that we just can't get enough of. I used to come home from school and like watch Grease the musical. It was like a big part of my life. Uh I don't know. I think the nostalgia of our childhood. Maybe it's the what I was talking about before. Maybe it's the whole 1950s glow that people are interested in, and the shininess of the everything is booming and everything is great and everything is new. Like, I don't know, the 50s has sort of this magical feel to it. I've always thought that. It's the shiny cars, and I don't know. It's
I think
for me,
maybe
it's the songs, right? The songs and the dance moves, like the hand jive. It's like the Macarena. Like, who doesn't know it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean the music, from what I've seen from the show, the music that's on there, every single one is just incredible. So I can't wait till it finally all comes out and you can just like listen to like the whole playlist because there's a lot of jams on there for sure. I don't know, for like me, I think like personally with Grease, I think it's just one of those things where you have, it takes place in high school. Everyone at some point, goes to high school or, whether it's even, it's homeschooled, but they have that as part of their life. And I think there's at least one, if not more characters that are in the movie, in the show that people can identify with. Um, so I think maybe that's like the attraction, that there's multiple different groups that you can connect with.
Absolutely. It's young adults transitioning from their childhood to adulthood, which is such a momentous moment for us all. Yeah, I think you just hit the nail. Totally.
Yeah. I and you have so you've done, like, obviously we mentioned you've done like a bunch of different projects, all kinds of different genres, from the small screen to the big screen. You have not only an extensive career in front of the camera, but you've also had your hand in producing. You've done a short film. How what led to you wanting to explore those different aspects of filmmaking? And is that something that you're looking to continue to do more going forward in your career as well?
Yeah, I produced and co-created and starred in a web series. It aired in 2014 and it won a couple Canadian awards. It did quite well. It was called The True Heroines, and it was actually set in the 50s. It was about 1950s housewives with superhero powers. You'd love it. So I that we created that series, and like we started shooting that in 2010, and like there just wasn't a lot of work back then. It was where I'm from, Vancouver, Canada, like Hollywood North. There was like not a lot of shows shooting here. And I'm not one to just sit back and relax and let the phone ring. So I like took action, and I had to create my own work, and I had a blast doing it with a bunch of friends who I love dearly, and we created work for ourselves. And then friends asked me to produce their films, so I did a couple short films and produced that. I think I just have a real passion for the industry as a whole. I love the business side of it. I mean, it's a huge business. It's $1 billion industry. It's an exciting business, and I love bringing people together. I love assembling groups of people together who are going to collaborate and create. That's really what it's all about. And I do have ambitions to continue producing, and I'm actually about to get a development deal with a studio, but I
Oh,
can't talk about it because the ink's not dry.
yes. No, 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 definitely. But well, congratulations on that. That's awesome to hear. And I can't wait to see, what you continue to do with your career. So are you just looking to continue, maybe not even just like producing and stuff like that? Are you looking to just continue to branch out to other aspects of filmmaking as well?
I mean, I'll take whatever I can get. I love working in this industry. So, um, yeah, diversify yourself, right? Like how many
Yay.
different hats can you put on? And I love to put on the different hats and figure out that side of myself and create worlds. Yeah.
Like you said, you like to keep busy. So I mean, if you're able to tackle a bunch of different areas of the film industry, I'm sure you'll definitely stay busy for sure. Now, Fiona, so Grease, Rise of the Pink Ladies, it premieres on April 6th. We have that coming up. What can, just like overall, I guess, what can fans expect from the series, both old and new? And is there just anything else that you want to say to the fans to wrap things up?
Well, I really hope that everyone loves this show. And I would say don't expect it to be Grease from 1978. This is like its own world. These are new characters, new songs, and really deep storylines. Like the whole series dives into issues like racism and sexuality and equality, and they place those really heavy topics in high school students in the 50s. So it's like it is a little bit of a political hero story. So I think it's gonna appeal to a wide audience, not just the diehard Grease fans, but I think a new audience is really gonna love this show. And it's no matter what, it's gonna be entertaining.
Oh
So
yeah. Yep. Yeah, like I said, from what I've seen, can't go into, too many details, but from what I've seen, it does a really good job of like kind of walking that line where you have those harder issues in there, things, kind of hard to talk about, but need to be talked about. But at the same time, you also have a lot of fun with this series, just with all the musical numbers, the way that everything looks, and just kind of reflecting back on that time. So I think that people both fans of Grease, but then even people that aren't maybe haven't seen the movie or aren't familiar with it going into it, I think that you can still enjoy it overall. So, well, thank you again so much, Fiona, for taking time out of your schedule to come on here, talk a little bit about your career, talk about Grease: Rise of the Pink Ladies. I really appreciate it, and you are welcome back anytime in the future.
Thanks, Pat. And next time that you interview me, maybe I'll be in a remount of The Craft. You never.
That would be amazing. That
Yeah,
would be
I
amazing.
would love to play a witch. That's like one of my goals.
We're putting that out there then. Let's make it happen.
Hi, I'm Fiona Vroom, and I play Tippy in Grease: Rise of the Pink Ladies. And this is Pop Culture with Pat.